Hey, this is Izzy from Rolling Virtual Cards coming at you with another Magic the Gathering video going over the black cards from Thunder Junction. Yeah, let's just continue this set review, hopefully to get these out before the next set starts spoiling more, which I should be able to. So, Ambush Geoped, 4 and 2 black for a Ambush Geoped is 4 and 2 black for a 6/2 insect flash. When Ambush Geoped enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. This isn't going to see many places. Maybe in an insect deck if you really want it. It's just dice it too much. I would say maybe Popper, but probably not. It's okay. Binding Negotiation, 1 and a black for a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, they discard it. Otherwise, you may put a face-up exile card. You may put a face-up exile card they own into their graveyard. This is literally just meant to fight plot. So maybe standard will see it sideboarded if plot becomes a thing there. I don't think many other places will run this. Black Snag Buzzard, a 2 and a black for a 2/1 creature bird flying. When it enters the battlefield with a 1/1 count or enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it, if a creature died this turn, plot 1 and a black. Okay, so like you can plot this card if you have extra mana on your turn, and then the point here is that like, oh, a creature died on my turn, now let me cast Black Snag Buzzard for free, and it'll become a 3/2. Again, I just don't see it being played very often. It's not great anywhere. Even in Pauper, like what? You run 4 of these in Pauper, you plot them, and then a creature dies, and you just go cast 2 to 4 buzzards. That could be something, but probably. Let's see. Next is Blood Hustle, 1 and a black for a 1/1 vampire rogue. Whenever you commit a crime, put a 1/1 counter on Blood Hustle. This ability triggers only once each turn. 3 and a black, target opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Now this is a decent uncommon. Does a lot of things. So 1v1, you're getting it out. Commit a crime on your turn, it becomes a 2/2. Then on their turn, it becomes a 3/3. And then, if you've got nothing else to do, you can target opponent loses life, you gain a life. That is targeting, so that's committing its own crime. This card does a lot. Let's see if it's actually seeing play anywhere. It's not. Okay. That's fair. If it was each opponent loses life, that wouldn't work with it, right? But if you're looking to build a commander deck where you like a crime committing commander deck, if you're looking to build a crime deck in Commander, this is a great sink for that. Oh, I've got nothing better to do, let me just pay 4 and target you, triggering all my crime cards. Then on top of that, it gets bigger. So over time in 4-player game, if you commit a crime on everyone's turn, by the time it rotates back to you and you commit another crime, that's a 6/6 all of a sudden. That's not bad. In 1v1, I think this could see some play. If a crime deck comes possible and becomes a thing in like Pioneer, this could be something like a control, like a blue-black control crime deck where you just trigger stuff on both people's turns. Because on your turn, you cast this, you commit a crime, it becomes a 2/2. On their turn, you commit a crime, 3/3. Your turn, you do another one, it's a 4/4, swinging at them with a 4/4. Could be useful. Maybe even in like Rakdos Burn, because the burn is committing a crime, so you burn them in the face on your turn and on their turn, and it gets bigger and you swing with them. I don't mind it. I think it could see play in the future if people don't forget about it. Boneyard Desecrator. This is 3 and a black for a 3/4 zombie mercenary with menace. 1 and a black. Sacrifice another creature, put a 1/1 counter on Boneyard Desecrator. If an outlaw was sacrificed this way, create a charge token. If you're building an outlaw deck, run this in it. I think this is a great outlet to be able to get some mana and get a bigger creature. That being said, I think you only do it if it's like an outlet deck that's also an aristocrat deck. Like an outlaw aristocrat deck, this card's great. I don't think it's going to see play anywhere else otherwise. Because it costs too much. But it's just 3-4 for 4, which isn't bad. And then making it sacrificing another creature, getting a treasure if you're running outlaw deck, and making it a 4-5 with menace isn't bad. And you can do that sorcery or at instant speed, so you can just do it at your opponent's end step, which isn't bad at all. Caustic Bronco is 1 in a black for 2/2 Snake Horse Mount. When Caustic Bronco attacks, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. You lose life equal to that card's mana value if Caustic Bronco isn't saddled. Otherwise, each opponent loses that much life. I don't mind this. I think the biggest issue is that it's probably going to die on attack. But if your commander has 3 or more power, it is at least 1 draw for 2. Because you can play the card and then go for, like, mount it on the following turn with your commander, hit someone with it, or swing at someone who's open, hopefully. And then since you saddled it, you reveal the top card. Oh look, it's a 3-drop. They all lose 3 life. Not bad. I think this is going to be an underrated card. Although it is like $1.97. Is this seeing play places? If it's got that price point. Standard is running it. Vintage is running it? Vintage is running this card? And Pioneer. Maybe this in a modern deck? What? Wow, okay. I think I misjudged this card. They're just running 1. Oh, if you reveal like Force a Will or Dig Through Time or Treasure Cruise or Lorien Revealed, you can deal some extra damage. What about Modern? What is the Modern deck doing here? Jund Modern. Jund Modern is a sideboard card? No, it's here. There. One of. Okay. Yeah, what's your big guy that you're hitting off of? I guess it is just a 2-drop that draws you cards too. Like, that's not a bad thing, to be fair. Like, I honestly, yeah, I misjudged this. It's Pioneer, Rakdos Midrange is running it. Just one again. 2 of them. Okay. Yeah, that's very strange. Like, I was sitting here going, I think it's a pretty good card, and yeah, it is. Getting card advantage is great. Especially card advantage that can deal damage to your opponent. Yeah, okay. Underrated card, definitely. I like it. Consuming Ashes is 2 and 2 black for an instant. Exile target creature. If it had mana value with 3 or less, surveil 2. Okay. I don't like that it's a 4-drop. I think that's a little weak. I don't hate it though. Like, if you're really looking for like just a quick removal, this exiles it. And then if it was smaller, you do get a surveil too. So maybe, just a maybe. Corruption, Conviction, 1 black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. This card's great. This card's fantastic. It'll always see play. I don't think, yeah, dual commander, Pauper, Modern. People run it because like it's another like way to sacrifice a creature and draw 2 cards. Just like Village Rites, sacrifice as an additional cost, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. Does the same thing. Why would you split it up? Ooh, sorry for that flicker there. You would split it up specifically because it's harder to target your stuff. With the cards that say like exile each copy of this card, now they can only exile 2 of them. So Desert's Duo, 1 in a black for an instant. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If it gets an additional -1 until end of turn for each desert you control. This can be very useful if a desert deck becomes a thing in Pauper. I wonder if one would ever get somewhere. Maybe if we keep getting more desert stuff, we'll see a Pauper desert deck. Oh, I love this card. Desperate Bloodseekers, 1 in a black for a vampire with lifelink, and when it enters the battlefield, target player mills 2 cards. Yeah, this card is seeing play in Golgari Dredge in Pauper because, of course, it is. Like, it mills you for 2. Like, what's not to like about that, dude? It starts your whole thing. It's gonna at least give you a +2 even if blocked. Yeah, dude, I mean, this whole set has so many good cards for different formats. Desperate Bloodseeker is great for Dredge and Pauper because it starts your thing. Plus, it's a lifelinker. If you're playing a mill deck, I love this card. A self-mill deck. I love this card. I don't really like this card in a mill your opponent deck. There's way better ways to do that. But in self-mill, I kind of like this. Fake Your Own Death is another card that you'll just always see play in Commander. Until end of turn, 1 into black for an instant. Until end of turn, target creature gets +2 and +0. When this creature dies, return to the battle tapped under its owner's control. And you get a treasure. So not only do you fix your mana, and it's technically only 1 drop in that regard, the +2 +0 is cool. Like, I enjoy that over some of the other ones. The best thing here, though, bar none, the reason you run it always, or why you run it, is because something dies, poof, it's back. Like, that's the idea. Yeah, like Pioneer is running it, and Orzhov Humans, so... And CDH, Yargle and Multani. Yeah, because that's the whole point of Yargle and Multani. Oh, I sack it to draw cards, then fake your own death to get it back. Or you fake your own death, so now it's bigger, you pay something to get more cards, sacking it, and then it comes back. So, fake your own death is just, it will see play in Commander, just like all the other ones. Forsaken Miners, a 1-drop for a 2/2 Skeleton Rogue with that can't block. And whenever you commit a crime, you may pay a black. If you do, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. This card is fantastic. Any black deck that's running that sacks your creatures, this would be played in there. And it's already seeing play everywhere, guys. Pioneer, Golgari Aggro is running it. You're looking at it in CDH for Kirk, Son of Yawgmoth. You're seeing it in Modern, Jund, in Standard Aggro, just other aggro, that's cool. Dimir Rogues, because it's a rogue itself. But because you're going to commit a crime, it's just a body that can keep coming back. And as a turn 1 play, that's always good. A 1-drop for a 2/2, mind you, with upside. Oh, someone decided to waste their... Like, no one wants to kill this thing. Because all that's going to happen is that they're going to kill one of your things and pay an extra black to get it back. So... Who cares if it can't block? This card's great in so many different formats. Okay, now we talk about Gissa. Gissa, I don't know if you pronounce it Gissa. I pronounce it Gissa. Gissa the Hellraiser. It's 3 and 2 black for a 4/4 legendary creature, human warlock. This card is the GOAT, and I love it in so many different formats in control decks to 5-drop. But ward 2 and pay 2 life. So for someone to target this card, they have to pay 2 extra mana and 2 extra life. So they're going down to do that. Skeletons and zombies you control get +1/+1 and have menace. This is already fantastic. Right there, doing nothing else, a nice like bump to your skeletons and zombies and giving them menace is great. Your 2/2 zombies you're making are 3/3s with menace. When you commit a crime, create a 2/2 tapped 2/2 black. Create 2 tapped 2/2 black and blue zombie rogue creature tokens. This ability triggers only once each turn. In a deck that you're building with this, you are just running mid-range control. You are going, on your turn, I'm going to deal damage to you or kill that thing. And on your turn, I'm going to kill that thing. And on your turn, I'm going to kill that thing. And you did it also on your turn. So, like, each rotation, you are getting 4 2/2s. So you don't care if the zombies come and tapped, because by your turn, they're untapped. And you're using them to swing out at your opponents. They are 3/3s with menace. So you've already got, by your turn, you've got 12 damage on board with menace. Not including Gissa. But other than that, standard, it is wreaking havoc. Modern, Chord Toolbox is testing it out and stuff. You are seeing it in Pioneer Modern Black decks, Waste Not decks, because the Waste Not's not banned from there, because you don't have fetch lands, so you're not going to worry about that. But being able to make more zombies with that, this is a way to buff those zombies. Golgari Control is running it, like mono black control. This is a control cards, a deck's dream. It's the turn 5 play, comes down, and then It comes down, is hard to kill, and then the following turn you just start spewing more stuff. Oh yeah, I'll kill that thing, and then pass. And then on your turn I'll kill that thing, and then on my turn I have 6 damage with Menace. Like, it's great. Hollow Marauder. 6 in a black for a 4/2. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, any number of target opponents each discard a card. For each of those opponents who didn't discard a card this way, discard a card with mana value 4 or greater, draw a card. So, I actually wonder. Nah, it's not. Okay, so people are saying it's not. Its upside isn't good enough. So, this card in most self-mill decks, in constructed formats, could be cast for 1 black. If you cast this card for 1 black, you get a 4/2 flyer. Force your opponent to discard a card, and if they discard a card too small, you're drawing a card. So that is a +2 on your side and a -1 on their side. So you're going up 3 here, guys. For 1 mana. And it's got flying. I think this card's underrated. I think if this card was a common, you'd see it in Pauper, Dredge, but it's not. So, like, I think it's too slow for Modern, but I do think, like, Pioneer might start seeing this card in a Dredge deck. Well, I don't know if I don't think Dredge is available in Pioneer, but in a self-mill deck, if that could ever become a thing in Pioneer. Even in Modern, like, I'd drop this card for 1 in Modern and go, discard a card. Oh, cool, I'm going to draw a card. Because most people aren't playing cards that are mana value 4 or greater, so they're going to have to discard that type of card, a 3 or less, and then I draw a card, and boom, I've got more advantage. I like it. I think it's good. Okay, here we go. Insatiable Avarice. 1 black for a sorcery with Spree. So for 2 generic, you search your library for a card, shuffle it, and put that card on top. And for 2 black, target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. So for 3, you're tutoring a card on top of your library. This is completely fine. Very good card. Also for 3, but with more black involved, you get to draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. But altogether, for 5 mana, you get to tutor for a card, put it on top, draw 3, lose 3. This card's the best black card in this set. It is by far being seen, played, and like as a tutor for any format that likes tutors. CEDH, Modern, Pioneer, it grabs a card. And if you don't need to tutor, you would at least get to draw cards. But the best part about this, even more so, is for 3, you can make your opponent draw 3 and lose 3. So you can even use it to finish the game off. Oh, you're almost dead. Boom, boom, boom. You're at like 3 or less life. Oh, crap. I couldn't kill you here with that. But for 3 mana, I'll make you draw 3 and lose 3. And then I win the game. Like, that itself, having that like little added bonus, really helps you as a choice. So, next up, we've got Karavek the Punisher. 1 and 2 black for a 3/3 human warlock. Whenever you commit a crime, exile up to 1 target black card from your graveyard and copy it. You may cast the copy. If you do, you lose 2 life. Targeting opponents, blah blah blah. Copies of permanent. Yeah, so committing a crime is that, and copies of permanents are tokens. So the goal here, the understanding is that as a commander, you can do a lot with this, but you still have to pay the extra mana to do that stuff. So if you like play a 1-drop to deal a damage to, or like pay your murder for 3, and then you go, I'm gonna copy that card in my graveyard for 3. You need 6 mana, and you lose 2 life. There's a lot of good mid-range with this. It just costs a lot of mana. Luckily, you're in mono black, which doesn't have a problem. Excuse me. That doesn't have a problem. It usually doesn't have a problem with producing mana. And it's also being seen play in a lot of mono black decks that can really push that idea, like Waste Not decks. The reason it works in Waste Nots, is because it's just a good control piece. And that's not a joke, it is. Because Thoughtseize can be reproduced. And Go Blank and Dress, like hand control pieces, be reproduced. Even in modern, like Mono Black Scum, right? Because you can reproduce the card, like Fatal Push, get a second Fatal Push for 1. Cool. Not Dead After All, getting a second like to keep it alive is great. But doubling up your Thoughtseize is fantastic. And I don't know what Scum stands for. But yeah, and like even you can get Liliana back, or Shieldred back, or Cling to Death. There's a lot of cards you can just reproduce. Any of these one-offs can just be reused. All of that stuff really pushes the notion of this is just like a really good card that does a lot. As a commander, it's harder, in my opinion, because you don't have the 4 copies, and the one-off discard cards aren't great in this format. So you're really looking for things that are even better to copy that don't cost a lot. 1v1, it's easy to get that information. You know, there's 1-drops that just go, hey, I'm going to target your hand and make you discard a card, and then, hey, I'm going to pay 2, or I'm going to exile my other copy of that from my graveyard and lose 2 life and do that again and make you lose 2 cards. And lots of stuff going on there. As a commander, I don't love it. I just don't love it as a commander. You could make it work, but I did. But Lively Dredge is 1 in a black for a sorcery spree. For a generic, you can search your library for a card and put it in your graveyard, then shuffle. And for 2 generic, you can return 2 creature cards with total mana value 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is totally altogether for 3, 4, 5. You can just dump a card into your graveyard and then revive 2 things. Is this hitting anything? Yeah. Again, because the idea of this is that toolbox nature of the cards. Yeah, Croaks is using it too. That makes so much sense in Dual Commander, and even Jeskai Temna. It's a great recursion card, and a great way to dump something into your graveyard. So for 3 to dump something in your graveyard isn't great, but being able to pay 4 and just go, let me get these two drops and win the game. Because it's just a combo piece. So that's where you're going to see play. Or like, you could probably do it advantage-wise, like, I'm just going to return these 2 cards to the field. Grabbing the combo piece makes more sense. Moriners? There we go. Mourner's Surprise. 1 in a black for its sorcery. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Create a mercenary. Okay. Yeah, like, I don't hate that concept. The idea of just going, get a card back to my hand, get a creature back to my hand, and make a token. If you're running a graveyard deck, this doesn't hurt. I like it to a point. Neutralize the guards. 2 in a black for an instant. Creatures target opponent controls. Get -1/-1 until it turns Surveil 2. This isn't bad. I don't think you'll see a lot of play. It does commit a crime. And Surveil 2 is always good. So if you're running a graveyard deck, Surveil 2 and CD8 or an EDH is fine. Like, it gives you that push to be able to just go, I get a Surveil 2, and also, oh, you're running a lot of tokens. Like, sometimes it's just a 3-drop to Surveil 2 and you're not killing anything. But other times, oh, they're running a lot of tokens, let's just kill all their tokens or all their elves that aren't buffed yet, you know? Set them back. Nezami Linkbreaker. This is a black for a 1/1 rat warlock. When it dies, you make a mercenary. I don't love it. Again, I don't think this card's seen play either, is it? No. Yeah. A 1-drop for a 1/1 that like dies and replaces itself is normal. I like the mercenaries you get. Maybe you can loop it. I mean, you can technically loop it, but not for extra mana, and you don't get anything out of it. So, The fact that it's another looper means you'll see it in commander decks that are running combos. It's Nim's Death Mantle. Is that the card? It's the one that when a creature dies, you can pay 4 and then bring it back and equip it. And since it makes a token, you can sacrifice them both to Ash Nods. Sacrifice it and then the token and then get them back and then do that over and over again to drain your opponent out. So that's the point. It's okay. Overzealous Muscle is 4 and a black for a 5/4 Ogre Mercenary. Whenever you commit a crime during your turn, Overzealous Muscle gains indestructible until the turn. I don't care for it. I think it's meh. Definitely just like a limited card. Pitless Carnage. 3 and a black for a sorcery. Sacrifice any number of permanents you control, then draw that many cards. And you can plot it for 1 and 2 black. This is a card that I think works with the concept of plot. You plot it, and then you're not going to have to lose the 4 mana so you can actually cast the cards you draw. So as long as you're running a deck that runs a lot of cards and you're like creatures, you can, or a lot of tokens even, you can just, this is permanents by the way. So plot this for 3. They see it coming, but like, if they don't have a way to counter it, you're just going to go sacrifice 5 creatures or 5 permanents, draw 5 cards. Sacrifice 10, draw 10. Like, it could really push you to the next level. Is this seeing play places? Just in standard. And 1 legacy. Sage Storm, that would make sense. Yeah, we got a few more black cards coming up. Let's see here. Rakish Crew. When it enters the battlefield, you make a mercenary. Whenever an outlaw you control dies, each opponent loses life and you gain a life. If you're running an outlaw deck, this isn't bad. It gives you an outlaw, and then on top of that, it's protection on board wipe. If they board wipe and you've got like 5 outlaws, each opponent is going to lose 5 and you're going to gain 5. So makes people think, second guess about board wiping. Oh, I can't board wipe because I'll die. Because I don't have a lot of mana. So I like it. I think it's really good in outlaw decks. Rattleback Apothecary, 2 and a black for a 3/2 Gorgon. Warlock, Death Touch. When you commit a crime, target creature you control gains choice of Menace or Lifelink until end of turn. I don't like this in most decks. Menace or Lifelink, it's okay. Definitely not seeing play anywhere. It's just not great. Yeah, I just don't see it. Maybe in a Gorgon deck. Raven of Fell Omens. 2 and a black for a creature. Yeah, it's for 1/2 bird flying. Whenever you commit a crime, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This ability triggers once each turn. I don't hate this in a crime deck. Like, if you're really committing a crime every single turn to trigger everything, like, hopefully with activated abilities so that you can reuse them a bunch. What you're gonna gain from this is, like, in rotation, that's 4 life lost each turn and you gain 4 life each turn. That's not bad. I don't mind it. I don't think it's great, but like if you're looking for it, plus it's got flying so you can hit someone. I don't hate this. Okay, like I'd test it out, see if it's worth it. Rictus Robber is 3 and a black for a 4/3 zombie rogue. When Rictus Robber enters the battlefield, if a creature died this turn, you create a 2/2 black blue zombie creature token. Plot 2 and a black. I don't like it. I think it's slow. 4 mana. You gotta plot it and then wait for something to die to get a 4/3 and a 2/2. I wouldn't really do that. Rooftop Assassin's 3 and a black for a 2/2 vampire assassin with flash, flying, lifelink. The Rooftop Assassin enters the battlefield, destroy target creature, and opponent controls that was dealt damage this turn. Anyone figure out what to do with this card? No. Yeah, I didn't think so. 4 mana is a lot. I like flying and lifelink, and flash means it basically has haste on your opponent's turn. And so, like, as long as you can, like, deal 1 damage to a creature, it might be useful, but there's too much hoops to run. Rush of Dread. 1 and 2 black for a sorcery with Spree. For 1 generic, target opponent sacrifices half the creatures they control, rounded up. For 2 generic, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand, rounded up. And for 2 generic, target opponent loses half their life, rounded up. So, You can target the same opponent, so like for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, you can make them lose half their creatures, half their hand, and lose half their life. I don't know, like, it's good. Standard's what's trying it. Yeah, that's fair. Casually wise, like, 8 mana to just go, hey, you have the most cards, stop that. You have the most creatures, stop that. You have the most life, stop that, and go past. That's not bad. I think casually this is where that'll see play. Or if one opponent's just super far ahead, no hand, or lose half your land, lose half your creatures, lose half your life. So, could be useful. I don't think it's great though. Servant of the Singer. 1 in a black for 1/3 human warlock with a death touch. When it deals combat damage to player, if you've committed a crime this turn, you may sacrifice it. If you do, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle. That's a lot of hoops. But I can see it casually as a tutor. Like, commit a crime, hit someone, sack it, tutor. Yeah, casually as a tutor, I think that's where you'll see play. Shoot the Sheriff. 1 in a black for an instant. Destroy target non-outlaw creature. This isn't as good as like destroy target non-angel or demon. But it's still a 2-drop removal spell. So you'll see this played in all the commander decks just as a side. Like, I need a 2-drop removal spell that kills most things. Cool, this will kill most things. Skullduggery is a black for an instant until end of turn. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And gets +1/+1 and target creature your opponent controls get -1/-1. Okay. I don't like it. It's a little too skullduggery for me. Tiny Bones joins up. A black for a legendary enchantment. When Tiny Bones joins up, enters the battlefield, any number of target players each discard a card so you can target your 3 opponents, target yourself if you're running self-discard, or just target your 1 opponent. When a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, any number of target players each mill a card and lose a life. It's weird. This is like meant to be in a legendary deck, and that's about it. If you're running legendaries, like, it's a great way to make people mill and you gain and lose a life. Like, oh, you guys mill 1 card and lose a life. I don't think it's doing a lot. Did it find a place somewhere like, yeah, standard, dual commander, okay. If you can infinitely flicker a creature, you do kill them, so that's about what I can think. Oh, and here's actual Tiny Bones. This card is expensive and being seen played everywhere. Tiny Bones the Pickpocket is a black for a 1/1 skeleton rogue with Death Touch. When Tiny Bones the Pickpocketer deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that. So 1 for a 1 with a Death Touch and that good of an upside is great. Casting your spells from your graveyard is fantastic. This is literally seen play in Standard, CDH, as a 1-drop for Sisay. Pioneer, Waste Knots are trying it. Mono Black mid-range in Pioneer. I'm thinking it'll get out of that. As a commander, though, I love it. It's a fun steal stuff from your opponent's card, plus Tiny Bones is fun. And it's not forcing them to discard. So you're running unlike the other Tiny Bones, no, the other one liked to just see your discard too. So you just get to run all the fun discard cards. Everyone discards cards when they cast a spell, discard a card at random, all that stuff. I enjoy it. I think it's cool. I think it's fun to play. Even just tossing this in a deck as a turn 1 play, like, eventually you'll hit people. You'll probably hit people no matter what, and they don't want to lose their thing regardless of how big it is because you got Death Touch on it. But being able to just go in and just go, I'm going to cast that thing that you put in your graveyard is great. I love it. Treasure Dredger. 1 in a black for 2/2 human rogue. Pay generic, tap it, pay 1 life, create a treasure token. So this funnels your mana into color mana, but you do lose a life for doing so. I don't mind something like this. It's pretty decent when you need extra mana color, but I don't like it in Commander. I think it's a little slow. Unfortunate Accident is a black for an instant with Spree. 2 in a black, destroy target creature, so 4 to pop a creature. And 1 generic to make a mercenary. I think this is slow. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. Unscrupulous Contractor. 2 and a black for a 3/2 human assassin. When Unscrupulous Contractor enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Plot. Okay. I guess it's okay if you plot it and then the following turn you get to, and then the following turn you cast it for free and you sack one of your creatures, including you can just sack itself and draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. So that's not bad. I think it's interesting. I don't think it'll be seeing play in a lot of places, but like 3 to draw 2 and lose 2, that's normal. Plus you either get a body or you sack itself. And you do it on your turn where you're casting it for free, which will give you more of like a mana up. Oh, 2 more cards. Vadmir New Blood. 1 in a black for a 2/2 legendary creature vampire rogue. Whenever you commit a crime, put a 1/1 counter on Vadmir New Blood. This ability triggers only once each turn. As long as Vadmir Blue Blood, Vadmir has 4 more 1 counters on his Menace Lifelink. This is the least popular commander from this set. I don't like it as a commander, so commit a crime, you get a 1/1 counter. This triggers once each turn, so commit a crime on everyone's turn. On your turn after you cast it, and then on their turns, and then on your turn, that's 5, so it'll be a 7/7, which means it will have Menace and Lifelink. But you need like a lot of mana to do that. It's seeing play in Standard and Legacy even. You might be wondering, why would it see play in those formats? Why? Like why? I don't get why would it be in like Legacy. In Legacy, you are seeing it being played as a 1/of. And the reason it's being played as a 1/of in Scum is because it's just a way to get your life back, because you're using a lot of your life in Scum. But it's also like you're committing crimes constantly in mono black decks, so it'll get bigger. And although Menace Lifelink isn't great commander wise, like dual commander, but like in 1-on-1s it's actually really good because your removal spell clears them out, and then eventually like on your turn you cast this, and then you cast a removal spell or activate an ability that targets your opponent, and now it's a 2/2, and then on their turn it becomes a 3/3, and then on your turn it becomes a 4/4. Becomes a 3/3, and then a 3/3, and then a 4/4, and then a 5/5 on your turn. Still doesn't have its ability, not until their next turn. But it gets big. Just accidentally big. Just for playing your deck. Which is, accidental bigness is great and stuff. Vault Plunderer is 2 and a black for a 3/1 human rogue, and when it enters the battlefield, target player draws a card and loses a life. This is okay. Infinitely casting it does kill your opponents, because you can just draw them out and they'll die on the way. Infinitely casting it gives you good advantage. I think it's okay. I think like if you are playing a flicker deck, it's fine. That's where I'd see it. But those are the black cards. If I was gonna choose a black card that like is the black card from the set that you want, there's a lot for a lot of different formats, guys. But if I was gonna choose one, it's probably Insatiable Avarice. Again, it's just their rare spree card is so strong. And it's just a tutor, which is really good. Yeah, it's between that and probably like Tiny Bones for being the best. Or maybe a Gissa. I think out of all of them, so like a lot of formats don't care about tutors because it's just not great. So I'm gonna give it to Insatiable Avarice because of its choices. Oh, my deck doesn't really need to tutor anything right now. Cool, I can at least use it to draw 3 cards and lose 3, or I can use it to kill my opponent. So I'd give it to that. Lots of cool black cards here, guys. Let me know what you think about them down in the doobly-doo. Let me know your favorite card from the set, or the favorite black card from the set, and we'll talk there. Everyone have a fantastic day. Peace.